guys, and welcome back to another Legends video. So for this video, we're going to be talking about the best special moves to equip to Shallot. So hope you guys enjoy this video. Hit that subscribe if you are new to the channel for more content, as well as that notification button so you don't miss anything we upload here on the channel. I want to say, just to let you guys know preemptively, I will probably say equips and stuff like that a lot because, and I'm not talking about equipment, I'm talking about the special moves being equipped to Shallot because for whatever reason, that's the way that my brain processes this. So there are a lot of special moves that Shallot can really maximize, and there are a lot of different factors when it comes to special moves and things you guys should be prioritizing and thinking about, such as the fact that some of them have, I want to say this, like, some of these special moves have things like, oh, debuffing, right? Downgrades on enemies, that's debuffs, right? Or status elements like inflicts paralysis or faint and things like that. There are a lot of different things, reducing ki, that you guys should consider when it comes to equips and definitely build Shallot to fit your playstyle. For me, the special move that I love the most is the Super Kamehameha, which I'm going to talk about in a minute when we actually get to our list. But there are things like that you guys should consider. Also consider the fact that these special moves have different things as well, such as you'll see some of them say, oh, explode damage, slice damage, impact damage. If you're somebody that didn't know what those were, it's because the characters actually have, each character has an individual, invisible resistance to each of those types of damages, right? Impact damage is the most common in the game, but each character has different resistances and they're invisible. You cannot see those. You can see them through a site like legends.dbz.space. If you click at the stats on each individual character on the site that's linked in the description, you can see that stuff. But there are reasons as to why these are a factor, and if you really want to really min-max it, you can consider what's the best one for the meta with some of the units that are most common in the meta and their actual resistances to some of these special moves. But I think that's probably going a little too far into it. I don't think the game really cares as much about some of those resistances. But yes, each character does have individual resistances. Last little preempt thing I want to say is that when it comes to special moves, the game actually prioritizes, well, not prioritizes, excuse me, calculates both attack stats into it, right? So that's something to consider as well when it comes to building out your characters and your equips, and yada yada. Like, the game thinks about both of them. So when it comes down to it, the special move that I have equipped is the one that I personally, for my playstyle, enjoy the most and consider to be the best one for Shallot. That's me, right? The reason why 100% of special move damage upon activation is, I believe, the highest special move buff in the entire game, especially among equipable ones to Shallot, right? There are a lot of special moves that are not actually teachable to Shallot, but there's that. Another thing I add is that Revolt Pile is one that's going to be on my list. A lot of people love Revolt Pile. It's probably the most used one, I'd say, and for good reason. It's very, very good. It's on the list. But other than that, though, other than 100%, I love the added flexibility of it being a beam attack, meaning I can hit them from a distance as opposed to needing to be up close and personal, right? That has added flexibility, right? So that's one of the reasons why I really like this one as a special move and the one that I have equipped. So how the video is going to go is I'm going to go through ones that I have highlighted, because I have a lot that I consider to be the best ones, and then I'm going to go ahead and throw out some more highlighted options as well, and we're going to try to make the most out of this video, because there are so many. A lot that I don't have. Hey, give him Dynamite Kick. Do it. There's a lot that I don't have, right? But don't give him Dynamite Kick. But we're just going to talk about the ones that are highlighted, right? So I'm going to start off with the best ones and kind of work my way around. So here we go. We talked about Revolt Pile. That's going to be our next one on the list. These are actually in no particular order, by the way, outside of the one that I consider to be the best one. The rest of them are not going to be in any order, right? So 75% to special move arts. This one does pierce damage. Again, a different type of resistance, but they're still major damage for the most part. If you happen to see massive damage, like, there are not a lot of teachable massive damage moves on characters, but that is a higher modifier than major as well. So again, not something you really need to think about that much, but it's something to, I guess, consider if you really are into that type of stuff. But 75%. Now, Shallot traditionally was a strike unit, so this was probably the best one for him for the most part. Now, SSG Shallot's interesting. He's listed as melee because, well, Shallot in general is a melee type, but he actually wants to be more of a blast-based unit. You want to maximize his blast. His attack is higher than his strike damage now. So, like, he's more of a blast unit. So keep that in mind when you're building out Shallot, but this is still one of the better options for him in general. And again, in no order after the Super Kamehameha, this is one of the best possible options. Another really good option for Shallot is actually going to be Full Power Frieza. Now, the thing about Full Power Frieza is that it's one of the only ones in the game that actually nullifies enemies, restores health when it reaches 0, the endurance effect that, like, Kid Goku has, allows him to revive. So definitely consider this, right? There are characters in the game that you should be using this on when you get the chance, right? Yellow Sin, for example, you don't see him that often, I imagine, but, you know, there are units that are able to do that. So definitely this is one of the better ones, and it does have the added effect of doing heavy bleed damage, which is obviously a more damaging version than just regular bleed damage. So that is also one of the better ones in the game. I cannot really mention the Revolt pile without mentioning Guilty Flash. It's almost the same thing from EX Boo, 70% instead of 75. If you wanted to do that, I guess. Maybe you like it the way it looks better. Also want to mention Mystic Flash. This one's more of an honorable mention because it's already here. This is not bad. You'll see a lot of these special moves will say, oh, plus 15% to strike damage or blast damage. For the most part, you want to try if you can to get just general damage without those words like strike or blast, because in those instances, it actually specifies the damage, which doesn't benefit the other. In this one, there's no specification, which means everything. So this is not a bad one either. Plus 15% upon activation. Very good. So there's that as well, because that one's already on the list, more of an honorable mention. Now I think it's time to talk about some more of the Zenkai options. So Zenkai Blue Broly has one of the best ones in the game, right? This one right here does the added bonus of adding in the 30% fake chance. Zenkai Blue Broly again. And then also has the 20% strike damage received debuff on the enemy. Very, very powerful, especially on compositions of teams like God Kier, for example, that have a lot of strike damage units, like Vegito Blue, for example. This is good because you can inflict this, and if you hit Feint, by the way, that's even more free time you have. But you can inflict that debuff of strike damage received, then switch out to another fighter that can do more strike damage, like Vegito Blue in this instance, and just shred the enemy to pieces. And if they can't switch, then just it's GG at that point. So definitely want to consider. Now this one here is a little different, but it's still really good for a lot of the same reasons. It's really good, but it's actually an area of effect, kind of like close range type of attack. So do consider that when you're using Zenkai Blue's special move as well, but not a bad one as well for him. But the difference is when it comes to that otherwise is that it doesn't have that long range flexibility. I wanted to highlight Sin Shenron because Sin Shenron actually has a really interesting one. He has one of the only ones in the game that actually hits the enemies that are on standby as well, so this is good. It cannot be used to defeat those enemies, but they'll still take extra damage, like Kid Buu, for example, who I'm going to talk about in a minute. But yeah, this one's good if you want to hit the AoE enemies as well, in terms of the units that are on standby. Also, it has a 50% chance to reduce enemies' Dragon Balls by 1, which is incredibly valuable if you actually get it to work. So Kid Buu is on the list as well somewhere. Let me go and pull him up here. Here we go with Kid Buu. I didn't have him at Friendship level 2 yet. So anyways, here we go. Major explode damage, and a portion of the damage is inflicted cannot be nullified by most other special moves. So this is the only thing that's really different. It can't be canceled out by other moves. This is the text you'll see sometimes, but the overhead attacks for the most part can't be canceled, like Broly's, like Cooler, Supernova. This one too can't be nullified by most other special moves. Is the difference, but I'd rather just run Sins, to be honest. It's whatever. They're both otherwise kind of the same for the most part, but you're not going to need to be nullified by most of the moves most of the time. You're not going to clash, right? That's more or less when you clash, but that's not going to happen most of the time. But if you were to, I guess, this one's really good, and that's one to consider. So there's that. Boy, oh boy, I almost forgot to mention the man himself. EX Shugesh actually has one of the most insane blue cards in the game, actually, in my opinion. Not only is it incredible, it's a dash forward one for you fans out there for the dash forward cards or that care more about that strike damage calculation, whatever the case is. Blast armor on the card, right? Dash forward blast armor and inflicts forced switching. This is actually really good. That's a really good blue card. So don't sleep on EX Shugeshes. I myself have been sleeping. I will not anymore. I knew he had it, but I just never got around to leveling him up his friendship, right? So yeah, don't sleep on that. For you guys that own LF Frieza, he actually has a really good one as well. But really what makes his good is the cost. 40 cost is really good, especially when you consider that it restores your ki as well by 15. The cost and the new card draw, it's incredible for this dude. Do not sleep on LF Frieza's blue card as well. It's really good. Really, really good. Draws a new card as well randomly. That could be a Dragon Ball that you need, for example. It force draws a card and gives you almost enough ki to use a strike if it happens to be a strike, things like that. Now, you can't chain it after this, in most cases, depending on who you're playing, I guess. But still a really good blue card as well. Do not sleep on LF Friezas. So 2 Friezas on the list. And since we're talking about Friezas, I want to talk about Chilled. I don't need to talk about this. You see this. This is... Chilled's is... I can't. One of the best ones if you really just want to be a dick. Now, EX Super Trunks that just came out, the purple one, his is actually not bad either. It draws you 3 new cards. It destroys your whole hand and draws you 3 new cards. That destroy your hand thing is irrelevant because you probably just use your whole hand in a combo, right? This is actually really good. Drawing 3 new cards is incredible. Incredible. And that's pretty much all of the ones that I really, really wanted to highlight. I'm just going to go ahead and list off some of the other ones that I have listed on my, well, notepad list thing I'm doing here that you guys should consider using as well. So I talked about most of them, but Lightning Shower Rain on the purple Janemba is really good. I believe that one restores your Vanish. That's really good. Same with like Bomber DX on the Young Nappa. That's really good too. Dragon Smash on the red SSG Goku removes the enemy's buffs 1 time. That could be flexible and could be good. It just depends on what you're doing, right? Blue Krillin, not because I stand him. I need to pull him up. I need to pull up Blue Krillin. So we're gonna actually pull up Blue Krillin. I have to do it. I have to pull up Blue Krillin. So not because I stand Krillin, but he's not here. He's actually a range type, not a support type. I have to point out that this is actually a really good blue card as well. 30% to crit rate for 20 counts. That's a lot. That's a lot of crit rate for a long amount of time. Not bad. Not bad at all. So not because I stand him, but because it's a good one. Speaking of blue, I don't know if I mentioned her yet, but Blue 18. Blue 18 is really good. Hers is really good. Blue 18 does plus 20% to strike damage received debuff from the enemy and a 40% paralyzed chance on hit. This is not bad either. Don't sleep on that one either. And if you want to be a dick in PvP type of options like Chilled and like this one, you can consider like Sparking Android 15. We talked about Chilled. We have the Sparking Lord Slug. Zenkai Buu as well. I talked about him, but the Faint Chance, like there are things like that you guys can consider using, and that's pretty much the entirety of my list. But again, like I said, there's so many. There's a lot you guys are going to want to use. There's a lot you guys are going to prioritize. Maybe you're somebody that values things differently than I do. For example, I don't really value things like destroying the enemy's hand. I don't really value that much. I mean, it could be good depending on the situation, but I don't value that much. I don't value reduction of ki because I feel like ki recovery is so fast that just standing idly most of the time the character gets it back, and there's nothing really to that to me. Speaking of young Nappa, there he is. But like, I don't value some of these things that some people will, right? So that's me. So that's why I said in the beginning, build Shallot how you want to. By the way, shout out to Kamehameha, excuse me, not bad either. Build it how you want to, right? That's more or less what it comes down to, and what fits your playstyle and what you value. Because again, not everybody's the same as me. Not everybody's going to value all the things as me. And there are just some of that in here that are kind of weird as well, that are just innately just worse. Like this one is just 25%, but that's because it takes into consideration is like, I believe this dude has main ability that buffs special move damage. Like it takes into consideration different things, right? But yeah, build what you want, how you want, what you do, as long as you avoid this guy for 60 cost anyway. That's pretty much it, right? So shout out to this dude as the last one. Massive explode damage, reduce enemy's ki by 60 on hit. Not bad. Anyways, thank you all for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see all of you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody.